This is the Get Your Ass to Work podcast. This is episode number 40. All right, so today we are going to be talking about the customer, the client, your friend, your wife, husband, goldfish, dog is not always right. You guys have all heard the saying, the customer is always right. Total bullshit. We're going to talk about why that's not true and what you can do to help better persuade and influence people so that you can properly lead them to where you know they need to go. But first, I want to give a couple of shout outs. First, Sergeant Weaver of the U.S. Marine Corps. He's working out with me the other day at South Reno Athletic Club where we work out, 5 a.m. He's getting after it. And he came up to me and said he really enjoyed the podcast. And I forget that people even listen to this shit. I swear. I put these podcast episodes out, and sometimes I'll post them to my Instagram, and I forget there are actually people out there that listen to this. Most of the time, I feel like I'm just talking to myself and documenting whatever daily problem I'm having or whatever I'm going through. But what he told me was that he can use some of this information that helps him in his business over there at the Marine Corps, which is to help recruit people coming into the Marines. So, hey man, thank you very much for stopping me and letting me know that. Definitely motivates me to put out some more episodes and hopefully bring more value. Also, the High IQ. You left me a 5-star review on iTunes. I super appreciate it. I think I know who you are out of New Mexico. I think I know who that is, but I just wanted to give you a shout out, say, hey, thank you very much. If you guys want to review this podcast and you want to give me 1 star because this podcast fucking sucks, I'm cool with that. You want to give me 5 stars? Even better, leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. I read all of it, and I'm always happy to get better and to use whatever comments you give me, good or bad, to make better podcasts for you guys. All right, so getting into the content today, let's bust through this real quick because we all have shit that we need to do. Here's the thing. The customers, the clients, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever you are having a dispute with is not always right. That is some weak ass shit made up in corporate America of people who are afraid of getting complaints online, and they're afraid of the power of Yelp. And what they do is they tell you, don't ever argue with anyone. Just tell them that they're right and give them anything you want. Here's the problem with that behavior. If you tell people they're right when they're absolutely fucking wrong or acting like a jackass, guess what? They go out into the world thinking they're right. They perpetuate that same bad behavior because now they think they can get away with it, or they think that it actually works, or worse, that they actually are in the right. And then they have to go and do it against or to someone else. They do it to another person who's going to be weak or not able to defend themselves, and they're going to start just running over people. Look, I'm not out here to save the world, but there are things that you can do when you get into a dispute with someone, whether it be on the telephone, in person, verbally, someone you know well, someone you don't know well, and it's pretty universal. Okay, they are not always right. So get that bullshit out of your mind. Now, what they do in corporate America is they tell everyone they're right because they don't want you to argue with the customer. That part is legitimate. And here's what I'm talking about. The customer may be dead fucking wrong about what they're telling you. They may say that, hey, the service here sucked, the steak was cold, and you guys overcharged me for the bill. It could all be 100% wrong. But you know what? You never, ever, ever tell people they're wrong, because what's the first rule of sales? And I don't care if you're a waiter or you sell shoes or cars, you're in real estate, you're recruiting people for the Marines, you are a salesperson. And the first rule of sales is you always, always, always agree. And that doesn't mean that they're right. It means that you agree with them. You acknowledge them as having a valid complaint. You repeat the complaint to them to show them that you understand their complaint and that you listened to their complaint. And then you reframe the way that they think and give them a different point of reference and something to think about and help them come to their own conclusion that they may be wrong. Now, guess what? If your steak was fucking cold and you served it to him and you fucked up, well then, yeah, you know what? You're wrong and you need to take the fucking blame. This isn't about like not taking responsibility for something you actually fucked up. This is for helping people overcome their own wrong beliefs about a certain situation. Let me give you an example for real estate. In real estate, all the fucking time, people take a look at their home and they say, my home is worth more than every other home in this neighborhood because I installed these shelves in the laundry room and now my home's worth $50,000 more because it's special and it's mine. And to them, they fucking believe that. But guess what? You can't just pull that Chili's or Walmart corporate bullshit out of your back pocket and say, oh, you're right, we're going to list your home for $50,000 more than it's actually worth. Because guess what? In the real world, in real estate, you're a fiduciary. And that means it's your fucking responsibility to make sure that you take that person and you lead them to the best of your ability to get them the result that they're looking for. And the result that they're looking for is to get their house sold for the most amount of money. Now, if they tell you that I'm looking to get the result that means that I get more than my home is actually worth, you may need to decide whether or not you want to work with that client. But for the people who are able to be persuaded and who are able to be led, because most people will hire a real estate agent because they want you to lead. They do want you to take control of the situation and lead them to the result that they want to get. You do not start that conversation off with telling them that, hey, you're wrong, your house is never going to sell for that much money. There's no way you're going to be able to get a price like that. Those upgrades do not add $50,000 of value. You tell somebody that, you'll be lucky to get the listing because most likely they're going to just nod their head and say, yeah, you're right, and they're going to kick your ass out and come take the agent who's going to be weak, but they are going to agree with them and then take the listing for $50,000 over, waste everybody's fucking time. That house will never get sold, and those people are going to be spiteful of real estate agents because of the real estate experience that they had. So here's what to do. Here is what works. Here's how you want to approach the situation. First of all, you just listen and you agree with what they said. You are empathetic to their position. It doesn't mean you're sympathetic. You're not agreeing with, you're not like, yeah, you're right, these fucking shelves add all this money to your home. You are empathetic. You say, sir, yeah, you're right. And I would love for you to get $50,000 more than the last home that sold in your neighborhood that was the exact same size. And I agree with you, and I see why you think that your home could possibly be worth this much money. So you agree with them. You show them that you understand. You are on their side. You are their fucking advocate, even though this is a combat situation. It's you versus them, but you make them think that you are on their side because you are trying to get them to the best position possible. Then you reframe the way that they think with an alternative and let them come to the conclusion on their own. The way that works in real estate is they want to overprice their home. You emphasize with them. You say, yes, sir, I believe, and I understand why you think your home would be worth this much money, but here are all of the comps and every home that has ever sold in your neighborhood. This price has never been achieved. And sir, I'm looking at your home from the eyes of an appraiser, and there's no way we would ever be able to get an appraiser to agree with us about your home being worth this much money because of the shelves. Here's the evidence. Where do you think the home should be priced based on the evidence in front of you in order to get your home sold for the most amount of money? And let them make the decision. They have to make the decision. You can't point and say, no, your home is worth $400,000. You'll never get $450,000. Here's where you need to list it. That may work with a very small percentage of people, pushovers, people who you have intimidated into listing their home. But guess what's going to happen with those people? They're going to take their fucking home off the market. They're just going to nod their head and say yes, feel intimidated. They're going to leave. They're going to call you a day later and have their son or somebody who has a little bit more balls to cancel the listing on your ass because you were just too pushy. I see this happen all the fucking time. So let's take another example. Your wife is pissed off because you didn't fucking clean the dishes and you haven't done any fucking laundry and you haven't done anything, but maybe you did do all of that stuff and you've done it like 3 times in the last week. Look, honey, I understand why you're mad. It seems like this laundry's never ending. I totally agree that we could do better in getting this house to be clean. I know why you're mad at me, but I'm going to make a change, and here's what we're going to do to make sure that the house is a little bit neater when you come home. Can we both agree to that? And look, guys, don't start an argument. Never, never, ever argue with your clients. It will not get you to where you want to go. If it does, it'll work 1 time, maybe twice. If you're arguing with your wife, are you going to be able to just strong arm and force your way through? But you know what? That relationship is going to take a huge hit on your relationship equity that you have already invested. We've talked about this. Now, I don't want to get into the relationship equity rabbit hole. That's where, people do things and over time you build this relationship value. Certain things you do, such as, bringing your wife home flowers or food or fucking chocolate or whatever, builds that equity and that trust. And certain things you do will take away that equity and that trust. Like maybe she finds some girls you've been messaging on your Instagram account or writing some comments that aren't, and that takes away from the equity in your relationship. You're always looking to be doing things to build that equity. Guys, there is no such thing in a relationship. I know I'm going down the rabbit hole, but this is a good one. There's no such thing as a balance in a relationship that is neither growing nor shrinking. It is always growing or shrinking. Anything that you think is just staying the same, like you have a savings account, you put $500 in, you check 2 years later, there's still just $500 in there. No, that shit doesn't fucking work. Money is being devalued every day, and so is your relationship if you're not doing anything to add to it. And this is the kind of shit that we need to talk about in order to help you get more real estate deals and have better relationship conversations. Is you have to understand the other side. And even if you don't agree with them, this isn't about whether or not they're right or wrong. This is usually when they are wrong, how to get them to come see it your way, how to get them to take action you want them to take, especially in real estate when it's your fucking job to lead people to the best decision to get them the best result possible. They may not like the result that they're going to get, and they may not like what you are telling them, but you're doing it to the best of your ability because you're not a weak fucking agent. You're a strong agent. You are compassionate. You feel for them, but at the same time, you are strong enough to let them know exactly what you think is going to need to be done in order to get them the result that they're going to need to get, and then let them make the decision as to whether or not you're the right person to hire, because you may not be. You may not be the right person for them to hire because they need somebody weak that they can steamroll, and in that case, you don't take the listing and you fucking move on. So look, really easy, guys. Rule number 1 of sales, always, always, always agree. Whatever situation you're in, whenever you're in an argument, you're in a sales situation. I don't care. You're talking to your wife about where to go for dinner. You're in a sales situation. You're at work. You're in a sales situation. You're in line at Starbucks. You are in a sales situation at all times. Something is either being sold to you or you are selling something. You're selling an idea. You're selling a conversation. You're selling an experience about something to someone. Guys, use the rules of sales to get better results for you and for your clients. Remember, you're doing this for the other person to help them get to where they want to go. Remember, keep their best interest in mind, because you can talk people into going somewhere that is not in their best interest, and then you're unethical, and then you're a piece of shit, and that's a whole different conversation. So guys, thank you very much for tuning into this week's podcast. Has been episode number 40 of the Get Your Ass to Work podcast. We will see you guys next week, and get your ass back to work.